Nobody can.
Oh, we're live.
Well, my friends are still available. Maybe and however you may be watching, thank you so much for giving us your time. There's some movies are just iconic. They're iconic for all kinds of reasons. Great dialogue, great acting, or maybe you get a great ass shot of Patrick Swayze, which that ascends a movie into the stratosphere of watchability for many, many people, including two people on this panel. Anyway. But we're obviously here to talk about one of the epitome of just guy testosterone-driven action films. One of the greatest to ever work just the pure action fight genre, and that of course is Roadhouse. Here to talk about it with my amazing co-host, as always, starting with the Dowager Countess Lady Cora. How are you tonight, ma'am?
I'm great. We're finally getting 100-degree weather steadily in Vegas. It's fantastic. Fucking love it.
It's great that my eyes are melting out of my skull. I love it.
Hey. Don't knock it. We're getting high winds and the humidity is at 8%. It's fucking beautiful weather.
I would much rather have hot weather than cold weather. I can't stand being cold, so it's terrible. And of course, my header life mate Jeremy. What's up, brother?
I don't know, man. I mean, you get cold, you can keep putting stuff on. When it gets hot, you can't take your fucking skin off.
I can always walk into an air-conditioned room.
Thank you. Thank you.
When I'm cold, I have to set myself on fire to feel warm again. That doesn't do any good either. So,
I don't know. I'm just saying it's. Of course, we live in a place though where like you go outside and you feel like you're swimming and you're like drowning.
The humidity here can be terrible.
Yeah, when you start taking a breath and you drown.
I lived in South Dakota for 2, 3, 4, 20 years. It felt like I know what you went through.
Yeah,
and, on the subject of thick hot air. The shape of the Star State, my man.
Got it.
What an introduction.
Man, you're welcome for that setup.
You don't get intros like that unless you have the great personality that I do, and I take it all as a compliment. So thank you very much.
Well,
but
yeah, I will say, my level. Yeah.
I will say, there's one lie in this movie. Dalton says, "Oh, nobody wins in a fight." That is horse crap. I have been the dude that's been hit by the pull stick on the ground, and I've been the guy that hit the guy with the pull stick and left the other dude laying on the ground. It's much better to hit the guy than to get hit. So that is propaganda. Do not believe that.
I heard a quote recently. It's not win or lose. It's win or learn.
I thought it was win or lose. It's how you play the game. I thought that's how it went.
To quote Arlie Ermy in Texas Chainsaw 2003, you're either the poor motherfucker that gets ate or you're the motherfucker that gets to eat. So which one do you want to be?
I don't want to be around you if you're the one eating.
I think we've had this discustion before.
I feel like we start some new shows with this exact discussion right here.
2 words: sour cream. Anyways,
that'd be a good burrito, though.
Hell of a burrito.
Excellent burrito. Hell of a burrito. Yes, good pull.
Burritos and barbecue before we went live, and I was just like, God damn! I just had some pad thai too, and so
I still gotta wait like half an hour for my food.
I'm hungry. I'm starting to get hungry again.
I had homemade Chinese food.
But before we feast upon whatever the hell Jeremy's having for dinner, let's talk about the movie we're here to talk about tonight, and that is Roadhouse, the 1989 American action film directed by Rowdy Herrington, great name, by the way, and produced by Joel Silver. The film stars Patrick Swayze, Ben Gazzara, Kelly Lynch, and the great Sam Elliott. In the film, a bouncer at a newly refurbished roadside bar protects a small town in Missouri from a corrupt businessman. Roadhouse has achieved cult status and was voted as the most watchable film on cable in 2020. The film was followed by a direct-to-DVD 2006 sequel that was widely panned, but was eventually remade in 2024. We'll be talking about that, actually, in a couple of days. The film grossed $30 million in the United States and Canada and $31 million internationally for a worldwide total of $61 million. This against the final budget of about $50 million, making it a moderate financial success. On Rotten Tomatoes, Roadhouse has a rating of 44% based on 50 reviews, with an average rating of 5.4 out of 10. The consensus review states, quote, "Whether Roadhouse is simply bad or so bad it's good depends largely on the audience's fondness for Swayze and tolerance for violently cheesy action." In November of 2021, it was reported that Jake Gyllenhaal was in talks to star in a remake of Roadhouse by MGM, with Doug Liman directing. In August of 2022, a full cast was announced, including Conor McGregor, Billy Magnuson, I'm never pronounce his name, Gimbesolo Ikumelo, and Daniela Melchior, and would debut on Amazon Prime. The film was rumored to have a similar plot with a modern twist. Jake Gyllenhaal's character is to be a former UFC fighter who is now retired and working in a roadhouse in the Florida Keys. So we'll be talking about that on Tuesday. But for now, let's get to this 1989 version of Roadhouse. I don't know, Tex, we've been, obviously, we mentioned it already. This is kind of a staple of any 80s, 90s action kind of movie. I mean, this is one of the ones at the very top of the list. Give me some of your quick thoughts on Roadhouse. Well,
you either love Roadhouse or you're wrong. That's the only answer to this film. This is one of those movies. If you don't watch this movie and immediately want to get into a bar fight with somebody you don't even know for any reason, I don't know what to tell you. It's one of those get your blood pumping kind of things. It's the coolest characters, the cheesy 80s action. I mean, it's got naked women, throats being ripped out, and gratuitous violence. I'm in. Take my money. The drinking's implied. It's a bar. I mean, come on. This movie, this is one of the, if you want to argue top 10 80s movies, this is making the list. I don't know where, but it's on there. No argument.
I don't know. Jeremy, what do you think? Again, it is kind of, whatever your genre, whatever your favorite decade is, I mean, this is one of the movies that it's just kind of transcended any kind of definition of genre. Give me some of your quick thoughts on Roadhouse.
Well, like we said, you want to talk about a pinnacle of just an 80s movie. I mean, this is definitely one of them. It's just like Tex said, I mean, you got pretty much everything in this movie you could ever ask for. And I think Rachel saw it for the first time with me last night. I hadn't seen it in maybe a few years. I forgot how good it was still. And she said, I think her own words were, it's the perfect movie. You've got everything you want. Like you said, you got the violence, you got
romance,
you got the women, you got the romance. Exactly. You got this movie's got a lot of heart. There's a lot of the suspense to it, the absolutely slimy, disgusting villain character that just you want to rip his throat out by the end. So I always say that kudos to a guy. If you for an actor, I'm you made me genuinely hate your character. Job well done, sir. Yeah, I mean, how much cooler can it get? Not just the late and always great Patrick Swayze, but you throw in Sam Elliott at me. I mean, my hands are tied here. This is a fantastic movie. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a fun one.
Yeah, Cora, how about you? Other than shots of Patrick Swayze's ass, I mean, what draws you to this movie and why do you like it?
Well, representing the minority faction of people who watch this movie and don't want to immediately get in a bar fight, I like it. I love it. I even watched the remake and actually liked it. This one is, of course, the standalone gold version that shouldn't be fucked with. It's got a nice plot to it. It's all believable. The acting's good. It's an overall gem of the decade, and I like it.
Yeah, it's one of those movies. Like I said, it does kind of have it all. It's got the it's really difficult, but if you can do it well, if you can make a movie that is appealing to both men and women at a lot of levels and kind of their baser instincts, it's really, really hard to do. But I mean, this one's got everything a guy likes. It's got the action. It's got some great music, which I think attracts everybody. It's got Patrick Swayze, who guys all want to be, and then from the female's perspective, it's got Patrick Swayze, who all the girls want to be with. It's got some great music. It's got the romance angle. It's got not only Patrick Swayze, but it's got Sam Elliott, who in and of himself is kind of a sex symbol. I mean,
he has his own category of sex symbol.
He is something else. But it's like even as a guy, it's like I watch this movie, my pain get a little wet because I'm just like, Jesus Christ, there's just so much machismo in this movie. It's so awesome. but yeah, it really was. Like I said, the one big downfall of the 80s is like there was so much that came out that sometimes good movies kind of get lost. But it's like, but every now and again they did go to the simple formula, kind of like Roadhouse. They did it so well that it kind of stands out above the rest of the schlock. So it's like, we were talking about Copycat a while back, how that movie kind of got lost in the fray of a lot of thrillers that were made in the 90s. It's like same thing for this in the 80s. There was a lot of stuff like Roadhouse that was made. Why has this one kind of stood the test of time? Part of it is Patrick Swayze's legacy. I mean, obviously Dirty Dancing.
Sorry,
like Dirty Dancing the year before this, and then all the stuff he did after this, which was also very, very good. I mean, stuff like Next of Kin was a fantastic movie. Ghost is a movie he did immediately after this. I mean, he was. I mean, lost in the fact that he was a sex symbol was also that he was a good actor. I mean, he was actually a really good actor.
Yeah.
Even before this, in a couple of movies like Purple Hearts and stuff like that, with the great Gene Hackman when he was first getting started. The Outsiders, which is a fantastic movie, I will put it on the list to do. That's an absolute classic. It's like
every Gen Xer's wet dream, Red Dawn.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I mean, it's like he was.
You mean reality that we're living in right now?
Yeah.
Well, I really had hopes for that remake. I was like, you could do this right, or you could mess it up, and you messed it up.
Yeah, his whole body of work was just so fantastic. And of course, you bring in Sam Elliott, who at that point was already kind of a sex symbol on his own, and Ben Gazzara, who was already kind of really good, but he had been doing it since the late 50s. Great stuff. But I mean, yeah, it's a movie that really hits all the buttons, and I think that's one of the reasons why it became. I don't want to call it a cult classic because it was successful. I mean, maybe not critically, but certainly financially successful. I've never heard a whole lot of people say anything bad about the movie. Maybe it's not their cup of tea, but I get it. I get why people like it. So I don't understand why it didn't hit a little bit harder when it first came out, especially given how fast his fame was ascending at the time, Patrick Swayze. But let's talk about Rowdy Herrington for a minute, the director. I mean, did a great job in this movie, but I mean, he only really made one other movie that has done very well at all, and that was what was it? Striking Distance with Bruce Willis back in '93, which was kind of a similar movie. It was similar movie to Copycat. It was a thriller that got kind of lost in the shuffle of all those. Not a bad movie at all, but it has not really done much outside of that. I mean, let's just talk about the job that he did with this. I mean, do you think he did a good job putting this movie together? I'll go to you first, Cora.
Yes, it was very well done. And I have nothing to complain about it. I really don't recognize his name, and I know he's done other movies, but I have nothing to say other than great things about how he directed this movie.
Yeah, Jeremy, how about you? Again, I'm going down the list of stuff that he's done. Actually, he did one other movie that's actually pretty good. He did Gladiator in 1992, not the one with the swords and the shields and sandals and all that. It was the fighting movie with Cuba Gooding Jr. and James Marshall, Brian Dennehy, Robert Loggia. That wasn't a bad movie, but other than that, he hasn't done much of anything really. I mean, he only did a couple of movies in the 2000s, and then he hasn't done anything since this movie that he's got in post-production right now that he was a writer for. But I mean, do you like the directorial job that was done here by Rowdy Herrington?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like we said, it's got everything you could want. It's paced pretty well. Like I said, you've got. I mean, I don't think you ever learned his last name. He just goes by Dalton. And I mean, like, yeah, that's all I need to know. Swayze plays the cool, hard-headed guy that you can get the job done, whether or not you thought he was, can be a bigger guy. But it's got a lot of even side characters that you really can't help but love. Like we all love Emmett. Like, come on. As soon as he pulls him out of the bar, he's like, "You okay? Yeah, I would if you get off me." Like, dude just cracks you with these one-liners, and I love it. It's hilarious. I don't know if I can tell my character, but like, obviously Sam Elliott, like, yeah, he comes in and just does his thing. And like I said, and it not also speaks to the chemistry of the actors, but I'm like, man, you just believe like these two guys got a history together. It all melded together very well. And like I said, it's like you said, not cult classic, but I'm like, I think it's just a classic period, and the reason why it has stood the test of time for all these years later.
Yeah, Tex, how about you? I mean, did you like the job that Rowdy Herrington did with this? Again, there's not really a lot of his work to put it up against to kind of compare it to. But I mean,
there we go. I got the correct light. Sorry.
Okay. But
I was like, I knew I had that color.
Yeah. But just for this film, do you think that Rowdy Herrington did a good job in putting this movie together?
I don't give 10s to movies. Like, I don't think I've ever given a 10, but this is a 9.5. This is one of almost perfect movie for what it needed to be. I love the world that he made for this film. The music is great. I want to live in this place. Like, I want to live within this world and just be a part of it. The characters, the feel, just everything about this is just almost perfect. Like I said, I can't give a 10 just because I don't, but it's just about there. So yeah, I haven't seen anything else that this guy did besides this one. But you know what? If he did this good, he doesn't need to do anything else for me to be a fan of him. So yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, Tubi has a striking distance on there. Again, it was when Bruce Willis, when he was Bruce Willis stuff, and it was Sarah Jessica Parker before before she became ugly and got to Sex and the City, but before her face started looking like a foot.
Turned into a horse.
Yeah, before she looked like a foot.
That's what to say. But until she started looking like Seabiscuit. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. But one of the sayings I like is even a blind squirrel finds an acorn every once in a while. And if this is his blind squirrel finding an acorn moment, then fine. I mean, I don't think it is, because Striking Distance, like, it's a pretty good movie. But it's like, dude, every now and again, you just put it together just right. You put together the perfect cast, the perfect dialogue. I don't know if you wrote this one or not. He actually was not the writer on this, but. Yeah, I mean, you just get the perfect stuff put together. Now, I think a lot of it had to do with the cast. I mean, Patrick Swayze, obviously, his star was big time. He was just firing to the top of the charts at this point. So many other people that had great histories. Kelly Lynch herself, Cocaine Cowboy, a lot of fame from that movie, which is fantastic. But sometimes it all just comes together in a beautiful way. You end up getting a movie like Roadhouse that becomes one of those movies that a lot of people don't want you to touch. Because I remember when they were first starting to talk about the remake with Ronda Rousey, I know a lot of people were kind of like,
no. They
were like, well, it's like, gender swapping wasn't even what they were mad about. It was just like, we don't really want you to remake this movie at all. We don't care how popular Ronda Rousey is right now. We don't really give a shit about any of that. If you're not going to, no Patrick Swayze means no more Roadhouse movies being made. That's kind of where it is. And for this movie to kind of reach that level of the fans being enamored with it, being so really honestly kind of protective of it, the way that they're not protective of a whole lot of movies these days. It's like that says something to me. I think you put the movie together just right. But let's talk about the cast for just a minute. I mean, Jesus Christ, you can't go wrong with any of this. Like I said, Patrick Swayze himself, up to this point, already had Dirty Dancing like a year or two before this, already a huge star. Ben Gazzara, who he was already, again, back to the 50s, was a huge star in television and movies. Jesus Christ, and then of course, I mean, come on,
yeah.
But I mean,
you can't tell me you don't see like that's an older version of Rocco from Boondock Saints. Right there. If he hadn't died, that's it right there.
If he would have lived. But I'll go to you first, Tex. Again, just a really stacked cast and people that were already pretty good actors, pretty well known for a lot of great roles coming into this film. Who on the cast stood out to you the most?
Who'd you ask?
Tex,
I cut out.
You.
Oh, okay. Sorry, no, I got bad weather manner and cut out. No, I mean, I could go on for the rest of the podcast just praising Sam Elliott, but I got to go with my fellow Texan Terry Funk, the professional wrestler. that plays basically the head goon in this movie. At this point in time, Terry Funk had, he'd been wrestling since like the 70s, and his entire life basically. And with a lot of the top pro wrestler guys, they end up in Hollywood. Well, this is probably his most famous role, and he's perfect for this. All of his lines are the stereotypical cheesy 80s goon lines. But whenever you're watching him in these fight scenes, like this dude can do this for real because he's been doing it for a paycheck for 20 years. And when he's throwing guys around, taking shots and everything else, and I love the scene where him and Dalton are fighting whenever Sam Elliott pulls up on the Harley, and it gets to the end of the fight. Patrick Swayze is holding him up, and he just throws him down on the ground. And he just flops down like he's dead. He just sells it like he just got hit by an 18-wheeler or something. Terry Funk, he was great in this film, man. It's just so cool. I've always been a big Terry Funk guy, but I got to go with him.
Yeah, I don't know. Lady Cora, how about you? Again, it's a loaded cast. Who stuck out for you the most?
I would say it's just the whole ensemble. Besides, obviously, Patrick Swayze, it's just cast perfectly with people that mesh well as if they were real characters in real life. And there's a lot of small B-list or not ever a lead character that were great in this. Kevin Tighe, who played Frank. I've seen him in a lot of stuff. Red West, he's been in a lot of movies. I think he was in that movie Convoy. Kelly Lynch, besides being beautiful, she acted well. Obviously, Sam Elliott. So I would say it's a whole ensemble. Yeah.
Yeah, Jay, how about you? Again, big cast. Who stood out to you the most?
Yeah. Well, if I'll jump off of something Tex said, speaking of movies with real life wrestlers in it, I think it's kind of a shame you put Keith David back there behind to man the bar and give him like 2 fucking lines.
That dude was in everything back then. Yes.
He's
yes.
I forgot.
Him and Roddy Piper almost kill each other. That was
like
nuts.
6 straight minutes. Like, come on, you're gonna have a fight like that? God damn.
Oh yeah.
That's what stood out to me. It's like, you can put Keith David back there and not utilize him? Come on now. But I guess that's my gripe with it. But I would go with Jeff Healey, the guy who played the blind guitarist, who was Patrick Swayze's buddy. I'm like, again, even someone like that, where he has a couple scenes with him in and out of the movie, and again, you just genuinely believe these 2 guys are real good buddies. Yeah, that guy. It's it just seemed he was just a cool dude, and it's cool that he did that for real. Like, was blind and played his guitar the way he did, and I never actually looked it up, and I was actually kind of sad to learn he died when he was 41. Man, he 2008.
Yeah,
this guy passed away. Yeah, it's a shame. This guy passed away so young, but. So, rest in peace. But yeah, I just thought he was just kind of a cool side character. And again, we talked about one of the other things in this movie being the music. This dude right here, that was it.
Yeah, Angel Eyes by the Jeff Healey Band is one of the classic 80s tunes. If you have an 80s playlist, it's got to be on there. It's such a great song.
Oh yeah.
But for me, look, obviously Patrick Swayze great. He obviously was the primary reason this film was great. Sam Elliott is Sam Elliott. I say his name, he's going to be good.
Right.
Let's see. Kelly Lynch. Again, I wasn't nearly as annoyed by her character as I am by the love interest in most movies, because she does seem like she's tough enough to hold her own. She has the history with Brad Wesley already, so it's like she's obviously strong enough to walk away from this fucking guy and just be like, screw you, I'm not worried about you. I'm even going to stay in this town and make you watch me be a happy doctor in this town while you're just off being an asshole. But I like the fact that she's not the damsel in distress like these movies tend to do to women. She doesn't just stand up to Brad Wesley when it comes time. It's like she'll also man up to Dalton at a couple of points in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because he's the one who's a philosophy. He's got a philosophy degree from NYU, and he's so smart, so good at what he does. She's the one with the balls to look at him and be like, dude, as smart as you are right now, you're being fucking dumb. You're wrong. and she's like the only one that can maybe make him see that. Even the Brad Garrett character, Sam Elliott, can't really get to him at that point in the movie where he's just like, dude, why don't we just walk away from this bullshit? We don't need this. Like, there's no win here for us, so why stick around? Let's just get the hell out of here. You know, even he's not listening to him. So the fact that she can be strong enough to get through that tough veneer, I think says a lot about how she handles that character, how she portrays the character. But for me, I mean, a lot of this movie, it's made with a lot of the secondary characters. I mean, for one, Terry Funk. I mean, he's not just a toughie in this movie. He actually was a fairly good actor, for those of you who have seen him in a lot of different things.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Randall Tex Cobb, I thought have never gotten the respect they deserve as actors. Were they leading men material? Not really. But it's like every movie they were in, they were solid. They were great on camera, and I think that gets lost a lot of times. But to me, a lot of it is you got to have good villains, and villains make great movies. So it's like you've got the good guys. You know, you got Sam Elliott, Patrick Swayze. You got the good guys. Who are the bad guys they're going up against? Ben Gazzara plays a great villain. He plays a great bad guy, a great mastermind, a great Lex Luthor to Dalton's Superman. I mean, it's interesting to me because in just a straight fight, sure, Dalton's probably going to knock this guy all over to hell and gone. But they're two very different people in many ways. Dalton, I don't think Brad Wesley realizes, the character anyway, realizes in this movie that the Dalton character is actually very smart. So whereas most bouncers or coolers or whatever are going to be guys who just like, if you come in here and start shit, I'm going to knock you around, throw you out. That's kind of the boiled down version of what a bouncer does. Dalton being more thoughtful, having a philosophy background, things like that them both being intellectual equals is what made the back and forth between them, I thought, very, very good to watch. It's what really made the movie. But then you've got another character who can step up and be that physical threat to Dalton. And good God, is this guy so good? I mean, look, he's evil. Just the look in his eyes is evil, and I think it's wonderful. He's wonderfully evil. Marshall Teague is the guy that played Jimmy, and he is. It really is like both these bad guys represent something different that is what Dalton is, because Dalton is two people. He is Clark Kent and Superman in a way. He's that non-violent philosophical guy that can go head to head with Ben Gazzara's character, or he can flip that switch and be that physical guy who knows Taekwondo and karate and all the martial arts and shit like that, and can fight this character. The way that both these characters have to work together to eventually even just lose to Dalton, I think it sets Dalton up as the ultimate hero, which is kind of what it's supposed to do. But also it makes it out to where Dalton's outnumbered, because one bouncer against 5 or 6 heavies that walk in there to start shit. We've seen every action movie ever made has had 3 or 4 scenes where the one bartender, the one guy beats up 3 or 4 guys and throws them out of the bar. Every action movie has had one scene of that. But this is different. I mean, these guys are at another level. They're at his level. Because usually you see that guy, he's so much better than the bad guys. That's why he beat 4 or 5 of them at a time. But not these guys. These guys are different bad guys. He's got to play both these guys at different levels, which I thought was fun. Also, I love the comedic timing of, God, what the hell is this girl's name? Kathleen Wilhoit. I don't know what she's been in lately. I haven't seen her in a long time. But I mean, I love this kind of the weird, awkward humor that she injects in this movie from time to time. Mm-hmm. It's like when she goes up there, it's like, that's why I put that as my thing. When she goes there, she's like, oh, don't worry about him. He was just born an asshole, just grew bigger. And I was like, damn, it's funny. Ever since I first saw this movie, that's been a line that I've used. I'm like, yeah, you were born an asshole, just grew bigger. But also I got to say that we got a great performance out of what's his name? Kevin Tighe, who I believe it or not, here's how old I am. I used to watch reruns of Emergency back on TV back in the day, a show from the mid-late 70s.
I did too.
That he was on. It was kind of a precursor to like modern day 911 and stuff like that.
I used to watch it with my grandparents.
I've also seen him play a good bad guy a couple of times too. And this guy, dude, he's great in this movie. I love the fact that he's the one that kind of gets the ball rolling. There were times in this movie where I was like, is he really the good guy? Like, I remember when I first saw it, I was like, I feel like he's setting all this up. Because he does have that kind of weird look about him to where he says he's the good guy. He's the one that approaches Dalton and says, I want you to, come work with me and help me clean up my bar. But at the same time, he's always kind of playing back. And then I realized over the years what he was doing is he just said to himself, I paid Dalton to come here and do a job. I'm going to stand back and let the guy do the job, which is probably the best thing he could have done in all reality. But it's the secondary acting performances that were really fantastic to really make this movie. And yeah, Jeff Healey, for a guy who didn't do a lot of acting, I think he was maybe one other film in kind of a role like this, very relatively small. But dude, he was actually really good on camera for a guy who's not a seasoned actor and is a musician. Now, maybe it's because he's used to performing on stage, and maybe there's a lot of stuff that transfers over. But he handled himself really well on camera, I thought.
Well, I love Stevie Ray Vaughan. He's one of my favorite artists. He's a kind of a rocky blues. He's like a mix of, he's a Texas guy. It's like a mix of rock, country, and blues. He kind of blended it in his style. Like when you hear his music, you think 1980s. He's one of those kind of artists. And you can tell that they pulled some Stevie Ray Vaughan kind of stuff for this film, and it fits perfectly. I can't get enough of it. I love it.
I watched the entire credits. Yes, I did, to the end. Just because he was playing. Played the whole movie out.
And to top it off, I really hate it when other artists will try to redo like great songs from the past and try to make it their own. It's very rare that works out. But his version of Roadhouse Blues by the Doors is actually quite good. I don't mind listening to that at all. That's the song that they're playing when Dalton first walks into the Double Deuce. But the cast of this movie is fantastic.
I'll be right back.
Okay, go ahead. Okay. Now let's move on to the plot. I mean, I don't know what you can say about this. I mean, it's kind of a generic plot, but I'll go to you first, Tex. Plot of the movie, did it serve the characters well? I usually say the characters serve the plot, but I feel like the reverse kind of worked in this case. What do you think of the plot of the film?
Plot? We don't need no stinking plot. We're going to throw Sam Elliott and Patrick Swayze fighting a bunch of goons and bad guys and being tough guys. And we're going to throw you some hot women and, just some awesome throat-ripping action. There's your plot, buddy. That's all you need for this film. I think this film tries to have a plot, but at the end of the day, you're just so entertained, you don't care that it really doesn't. And that's kind of the beauty in this film. It's so simplistic that the entire film is a roller coaster ride. There's enough plot to keep the story going. And it's just fun. I can't think of any complaints about this movie. This is one of the few I don't think I can grab about. I'll be real honest with you. From beginning to end, I love every second of it. So it's awesome.
Jay, what do you think of the plot of the movie? Again, a bit thin by most standards, especially by today's, but did it work out for you?
I mean, I guess you could say that. We just did Critters. You saw me hesitate there for a second. I had to process the word I was going to say.
You were about to say Gremlins. Weren't you?
I was going to say Critters, and I know my mind is going to say that. My mouth is going to say something else. And I'm like, no. Critters. And where I said the same thing where I'm like, it has a pretty straightforward plot. Weird alien thing comes down to Earth and wreaks havoc. Like, okay, yeah. But, I mean, it only did that in maybe it truly did that in the last back half of the movie. And I'm like, well, yeah, you only got one thing to take care of in this movie, and that's it. But really, a simple plot of, hey, I have this bar. I need you to kind of clean up the bar and the riffraff in this place, which in itself is a pretty simple, plot. I mean, the way I describe this movie to people is I'm like, yeah, it's just Patrick Swayze kicking everyone's ass. There you go.
You're not wrong.
I was like, what else do you want? But it does invoke a bigger thing. It's like kind of like when he first goes in there and you see that's not necessarily an easy task that's going to take place in, a night. That's going to take a minute. You got to get the ball rolling. And boy, does that ball just keep rolling because it blossoms into this thing where it's like, oh, it's not just the Double Deuce. It's Red and his shop.
The entire town.
It's everybody in this town is under this dickhead's thumb. And it's becoming a bigger issue here. And it's like we said with him being a smart guy, not just he's not just brawn, he's also a lot of brains. And it's like you got a cat and it's not really cat and mouse. It's like it's cat and cat right here. Trying to, he knows he can't just straight up rip this dude's throat out because it's like that's not gonna solve the issue. And there's not maybe where the cockiness of the villain comes from, where he's like, yeah, you're not gonna touch me, dude. Like, what are you gonna do? I have the cops, I have the firefighter, I got everybody in my back pocket. So no, it's enough of a plot that again it blossoms into something big, and like Tex said, it's a fucking roller coaster. It's this roller coaster got a couple of loops and a couple spins and corkscrews, and goddamn, it's a fun ride. So no complaints.
I don't know, Cora, what do you think about the general plot of it? Did it work out well for you? Is there something you would have done differently?
I think the only thing I would have done differently is maybe make Dalton like have a buddy who comes to town, so he's not quite standalone, like someone who, or somebody who I don't know, like maybe give him more of a tag team, like with someone that. You
mean like with Sam Elliott?
That's what I was about to say. That's
and all the other bouncers that were there. I mean,
right.
I think I'm mixing up the two movies because I watched the remake after I watched this one.
I was gonna say, I'm like, is Sam Elliott a joke to you?
I'm sorry.
Put that picture of Sam Elliott back up and tell me you don't take that guy seriously.
I'm a little distracted.
Come on now.
Oh, that's even better.
Look at that
right there. That's a death stare right there.
I'm a little distracted because I'm nervous about the ship about to be said about me on the other show. So I'm a little ignore me.
You wait till I get over there and tell the real version. Right now we're talking Roadhouse. Mm-hmm. This is we ain't talking some fluff crap. We're talking Roadhouse, buddy. This is serious production movie right here. So,
I will say, I wish I could have one of those barn door like apartments with those big doors as a patio. Like I love that like apartment he has. It's fucking gorgeous.
I would still need some internet or a TV or something like that. I mean, I can't completely cut off, but yeah, I can appreciate it.
I will say this is the only movie where I'm like, you know what? It's a little weird not having the mustache, but Sam Elliott can still rock the scruff and the hair. I'm like, it's fine. It's
right. Well, the scene where he puts the hair up into the ponytail, like shit's about to go down.
I was like, nothing even happened yet. I'm like, oh no, he's ready. He's ready.
Like a my beer kind of moment.
Like this is like this just kicked up from like a tickle fight to nuclear levels. Like you're about to get it all now. So it's just one of those things.
Especially when the first fight that he rolls up on when they're whipping Dalton's ass and they're trying to unload the beer truck.
Right.
What is it he says to Sam Elliott? And Sam Elliott goes, "Well, I'm sure I'm not going to show you my dick," and he just kicks everybody's ass.
He just hits him right in the balls. Yeah. Well, I'm sure not going to show you my dick. Whoop out!
He walks up and he's like, "What's going on?" They're just like, "Go away, Dad." He was like, "The fuck?"
Right.
Don't you know who I am?
Well, there are very few people on this planet that are as cool as somebody like a Kurt Russell, a Sam Elliott. He's operating at another level most can't even perceive. So, and he knows who the character is. He says, he calls everybody Miho. He drives a Harley everywhere. He's the cool drifter guy. He doesn't really get attached to really anybody but Dalton. Him and Patrick Swayze very much knew the characters they were playing. And to kind of what Cora was saying a minute ago, that, he should have had a friend come in. I don't think so. The whole point was Dalton this is basically a Western movie. There's a town that's gone awry, and the rambling stranger has to come in and save it. If there was somebody else who was carrying as much as he was, it would water down Dalton. So you need Dalton to be the ultimate guy, but then you have his version of Yoda, or his Obi-Wan Kenobi is in the background with Sam Elliott. That like the scene in the barn where Dalton swings on him and he catches it. He can still top him. You know what I'm saying? Like that's as awesome as Dalton is, Sam Elliott's just that much better. You know what I mean? It's cool how they don't.
So essentially, it's Tombstone instead of
it is.
Kurt Russell, Patrick Swayze, and Sam Elliott.
It's a Western.
Playing Sam
It is. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a Western in modern 1980s Missouri. You know, I mean, if you took this back 100 years, instead of him driving a Mercedes, he's going to be riding on a black stallion. You know, it's going to basically the same thing, and they're in cowboy hats. But it's why this formula works. You know,
like when he caught his fist like right mid swing, he's like looking dead in the eye. He's like, "Yeah, we don't want to do this. Come on." I'm like,
right. Oh. He's like, you know, like in my head, I'm thinking like Sam Elliott saying like, "I taught you everything you know, but I haven't taught you everything that I know." Kind of saying like it kind of feels like that in that moment. But
I was reading something that Rowdy Herrington said. Rowdy Herrington said he even shot it to be kind of like a Western. So it's interesting that Tech said that. He wanted Dalton to be kind of like the lone gunman going from town to town, you know, the gunman for hire. And he ends up, not unlike, you know, Clint Eastwood in Unforgiven, he ends up in this situation rather than looking for it. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you have your hero of the film that's running from something in his past. He ripped out a guy's throat in a bar, which, you know, that wasn't a one-time accident. That's his go-to move. I don't care what anybody says. He does it like 3 times in this movie. Like, if Dalton was a Mortal Kombat character, that's his finish him move right there, is the throat rip, which is really cool. But, you know, that fight scene right there alone is just awesome. Like, I love that fight scene.
Do you think that? I mean, as I was watching this recently, I was kind of wondering. Do you think that Sam Elliott does kind of overshadow Patrick Swayze at some point?
I don't think so.
No,
I mean, because
he complements it pretty well. Yeah, no.
I mean, because like I said, Sam Elliott already very established in his career to this point. I mean, all the way back into the 70s. And Swayze, while he had done some things, it's like he was in the initial stages. I mean, because he had already done like Red Dawn, Outsiders was getting famous. And then all of a sudden, pow, Dirty Dancing happens, and he is just catapulted into the stratosphere of fame. And then a year and a half after that, he's trying to make this movie. And so, I mean, do you think that maybe I thought maybe there were times where he kind of stole a few scenes. He didn't steal the movie by any means, but I thought maybe he stole a few scenes. I don't know. Are you guys seeing it differently? What do you think?
Well, I ate up every moment that like Sam Elliott had his little like one-liners or doing like just even the simple thing like when he was like tying back his hair like shit's gonna go down, you know. But like it didn't take away from it. It's like I'm excited to see him come in. Like when he came there to the back loading dock there, and they're all just smashing the beer and shit, which broke my heart. By the way, that was some expensive shit.
So much alcohol abuse in this movie. Like, oh my god.
Right, and then he just like waltzes right in and starts kicking their ass too, and I'm like, yeah, it's like I'm just happy he's there. And again, sorry for the spoilers, but you know, it's like it just breaks your heart all the more when you find out, you know, the guy, the villain ended up killing him in the end. It's like, damn, dude. Yeah, it was Tails. Right. Man, it's like you kind of know it. I mean, I knew it was going to happen, but it's like we were watching.
Of course,
it's like he plays it, and you think, yeah, it is silly, dude. He's just drunk on the bar, and I heard her. She's like, oh, he's dead, isn't he? I'm like, yeah. Man, that gut wrenching scene of him just like crying, and he pulls a knife out of him. Like again, when you talk about Patrick Swayze's acting, holy shit, he breaks down after Wade dies, and he marches outside with that knife. I'm like, yeah, you don't kill Sam Elliott in the movie, damn it. Go
it's like I said, if this was Star Wars, Dalton is Luke, and Sam Elliott is Obi-Wan Kenobi. And when Obi-Wan Kenobi gets struck down, then Luke overcomes, if you want to use Star Wars logic here. Yeah. You know, yes, Sam Elliott, he has his moments. And even a time or two, you see him kind of overshadow, but just enough where you know how awesome he is. Like in the moment with the hair thing, or when he's pulling up for his initial, you know, entrance to the film. And, you know, oh, well, you know, I had this, oh, I knew you did. And they just kind of laugh it out. Or, the whole catching the fish moment. We know that Sam Elliott, Wade could he could probably handle this himself. But he's only here to save Dalton. He's not here to try to overtake. I mean, it's like he dances with his girl. He kind of gives her a wink and a nod. He could probably have this girl if he wanted her.
Oh yeah.
But he's not doing it. You know what I mean? He's the proud father. He's not the one coming in to steal limelight. So I maybe briefly, but not enough to permanently overtake him.
And he still gets his ass kicked too a little bit. Like he still takes his licks.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So,
what everybody does in this movie. Everybody. Yeah. I mean, and that's one thing I will say is the fight choreography over the top, just like you mentioned that They Live. Oh yeah, it's very comical, but it's also realistic in the way of, just like Dalton says, nobody wins in a fight. Everybody gets their butt kicked a little bit. Even if you win, you're still going to be hurting tomorrow. So it's, they're very realistic.
Pain don't hurt. Pain don't hurt.
Right. Oh yeah. It's,
I guess like she told him, like, dude, if you don't slow down, man, it's gonna kick your ass when you're, Sam Elliott's age.
Right.
So. Yeah.
Well, and that's the whole thing. And I like how they really don't tell the age difference between these two, because I mean, let's be honest. Sam Elliott has looked 70 for 55 years. He's just one of those guys
right.
that looks older. So he could be 5 years older. He could be 25 years older than Dalton is in this movie. We don't really know, but we don't need to, because, like I said, he's his Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's his Yoda. He's whatever. And Dalton is the younger, still figuring his shit out, whereas Wade is he's just a nomad that roams on that bike. And unfortunately, he comes to this town and that ends. But, the inspirational hero has to have something to have
that
him.
Thing that put him over the edge, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, every moment has it. I mean, it's one of those deals. It's a story trope for a reason.
You tell him I'm coming and I'm bringing hell with me.
Thank you.
Let's not ignore at all the chemistry between these two on screen.
No, yeah.
I mean, it really was this great brotherly chemistry that is one of the many things that makes this movie so great.
Like I said, that scene, I was talking about the scene in the diner, like when he, it's like he just sat there and just waltzed with his girl up and down the diner, and she just excused herself, and then it's like it turns to a serious scene where he gets right in his face, and he says, I mean, that's a cool line, the one that Tex picked, where he's like, look, someone sticks a gun in your face, you got two options. You either die or you kill that motherfucker. I'm like, he's trying to get through to him. Like, dude, are you still carrying that shit around? Like, you still got that gnawing at you? Like,
cut that dog loose. Yeah.
Like, you got
that dog won't run. You got to cut it loose. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He
just draws line in. He's like, look, I know you, and I know through your bullshit, dude. Like, you can't, you don't bullshit a bullshitter, okay? So.
Wade is the one guy in this film that can call Dalton on his bullshit. Dalton doesn't really take it from anybody else. Sam Elliott, his role in this is mentor, but he's kind of the measuring stick, because he's the guy that's been there. He's, he trained this guy, it kind of seems like, so every character needs that one kind of mirror to them. So we kind of feel the differences in them, and it works. I mean, it's, I don't want to say Batman and Robin, but it's very similar in that way.
But let's move on to some trivia now, because I found some pretty interesting ones, especially on potential casting. What we could have gotten was Annette Bening, who was originally cast as Dr. Elizabeth Clay. However, the role was recast because she and Patrick Swayze had too little chemistry, and she was eventually replaced by Kelly Lynch. Scott Glenn actually turned down the role of Jimmy Reno, which would have been interesting, which eventually went to Marshall Teague. Joel Silver cast Sam Elliott as Garrett due to his quote-unquote baggage. Which, okay, whatever. But I love me some of that betting. I really do. But I'm really glad that we ended up getting Kelly Lynch in this. But I can't say that getting Scott Glenn wouldn't have been awesome, because I love Scott Glenn. He's fantastic. But I don't know. Tex, what do you think? I mean, obviously we ended up with the right cast. I don't think this movie would have been the same.
Oh, 1,000%.
Scott Glenn would have been cool. Well, because Scott Glenn played a sort of similar character in Urban Cowboy. So
yeah, he could have done it. but I don't.
Urban Cowboy was early 80s, though. This being late 80s. I don't know. Scott Glenn still looked, I don't know. He still looked pretty good in the late 80s. But I don't know if he looked Marshall T good.
Scott Glenn, he always played villain to me. I don't think I could have seen him as Dalton in this movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, could he have done it? Yeah, sure. Would it have been believable? Yeah, but
Scott Glenn was going to be Jimmy. Scott Glenn was going to be Jimmy.
Or Jimmy, excuse me, sorry. I like him, but no, not for this one. I can't. This is one of those films that I can't see anybody else in these roles besides who we got. Like I said, this is damn near a perfect movie. Like, I can't think of hardly anything that I would change.
See, Roadhouse, believe it or not, despite the fact that it's been so renowned since then, it was actually nominated for, but did not win, 5 Golden Raspberry Awards. It was nominated for Worst Picture,
seriously,
Worst Actor for Patrick Swayze, Worst Supporting Actor for Ben Gazzara,
wow.
Worst Director, and Worst Screenplay. However, the film is listed in Golden Raspberry Awards founders John Wilson's book, The Official Razzie Movie Guide, as one of the top 100 most enjoyable bad movies ever made. I don't understand how anybody can think this is a bad movie.
I don't see how it's even a bad movie. Like, where?
Yeah.
It's a well-made movie.
Say, is it fucking Shakespeare? Is it Oscar worthy? No, but like, how do you not have fun? I get it. You're a critic, and I mean, we do that here too. It's like, we've seen movies. We've seen the same 4 types of movies, but I mean, you can still rewatch it and still have a fucking good time, just like you would any other time you watch it. Like, I work haunts. I go to other haunts, and of course I'm like, oh, that's cute. That's cool. Ah, hello, person. Hi.
Right.
I'm looking at like set deck, and I'm like, I'm not jumping at anything. I'm like, I've been through this. But when something sticks to you, like, yeah, I don't see where you're getting that from.
Well,
I would get fired for that. Somebody needs to be fired for that one.
What is the ultimate point of a movie? It's to be entertained, right? Yeah. How can you watch this and not be entertained? You must be some highfalutin, you only watch elevated movies with a social commentary and a story that preaches you how society needs to be better if you don't like this movie.
Obviously,
this is
the greatest thing that's ever happened to anyone ever.
What's that, Cora?
Are you saying you would never have a beer with somebody who didn't like this movie?
I would, to just ask them, what is wrong in your brain that you don't love this movie?
Yeah. Because
that does not compute with me. Like, this is,
I don't get
it doesn't make sense. It's a fun 80s romp where everything is amped up to 12 when they broke the knob off. And it's stupid, cheesy dialogue, but you know what? It's delivered amazingly. Is this screenplay going to win any awards? Probably not. But you know what? There's 1,000 other movies that don't win in that same screenplay award either, that these hoity-toity, elevated nonsense people just prize over that make $5 at the theater. This is an entertaining film.
You can't tell me like they're doing all this fight choreography. That shit ain't easy. Like,
right.
Damn.
I mean, if it wasn't for movies like this, I mean, we wouldn't have John Wick and stuff today. I mean, watch this and watch John Wick. This is an 80s version of John Wick is what this movie is. And it's just a fun watch. Right. Yeah, it's just, in this one they use beer bottles, and John Wick they use, glass.
Guns. Yeah.
So. A little bit different.
As much as I was saying that, I get the rules of, like, especially when that picture there reminded me of when he's had that fight with dude on the beach. It's like,
oh yeah,
he's going back. I mean, they're just going at each other, just knocking the shit out of each other on this beach.
Right.
I'm like, and then you want to go and pull a fucking gun out of your ankle. I'm like, no. That's chicken shit. Don't do that. That's not the rules of a fight. Come on now. I'm like, you're going to be you're more of an asshole because you had that gun the whole time. And I know you were playing by the rules of just fist fighting this guy, but then you want to pull it out and be a dick about it. Like, no. He deserved that throat rip right there on the beach. And just shuck the
Jimmy
across the water.
Have you ever seen the Chuck Norris movie Silent Rage?
I know of it.
It's been a while.
I know of it, but no, I've not seen it.
Basically, it's like a Texas version of Halloween, because Chuck Norris is the Dr. Loomis character, and there's like this silent bad guy who's been kind of genetically modified and messed with, very Michael Myers like. The villain in Silent Rage, he's very similar in like how proficient he is in just messing people up. And there's only the one guy that can take him down. And that's what Dalton's here to do. You know, Dalton is our Luke Skywalker. He's our Batman. He's our whatever. And that last fight, I mean, when we first see Jimmy with the pool stick in the bar taking out the entire staff of the Double Deuce, you know, he's just establishing how bad of a villain he is. And then when you get to that epic payoff at the end where he rips dude's throat out, it's just like you're cheering. Like, I don't see how you're not excited. You know, after everything that they do in this movie. Yeah, I mean, they drove a monster truck through a car dealership, which is freaking awesome, by the way. I don't know. We haven't brought this up yet. That's one of the coolest things in this entire film. Yeah, like, I need that truck. Like, you know, I don't want to pay for gas in that truck, but I want to drive that truck. I'll tell you what.
You don't pay for popping one of the fucking tires either.
You know, it's just, like I said, I want to live in this world. Like, I would fit perfectly there. I love bars. I mean, I don't know if y'all have ever been to a bar where they actually have the chicken wire over the stage, because there's quite a few of them around here. But I've been to places like this. Now, not as comic as this is, but this is a fun movie to be in. You know what I mean? It's just awesome.
I saw that, and I had like the little clip from the Blues Brothers where the guy walks in and he just goes like,
"Yeah,
chicken wire, really?"
Yeah, yeah. No, that's not a Hollywood thing. That they took that out of real life. You know what I mean? It's you know, this whole movie is just awesome on every level.
You know, Tex mentions the monster truck. I have a piece of trivia for that right here. The monster truck that drives through the Ford dealership was Bigfoot number 7.
I knew it.
It was driven by former vice president of Bigfoot 4x4 named Jim Kramer. That scene cost $500,000 and was done in one take.
Wow.
You probably have one take.
Worth every penny.
Looking at that thing, I'm like, I know it's not going to have and that's my joke, it's not going to have the logo on the side, but I'm like, God, that looks an awful lot like Bigfoot, doesn't it? Like,
from what I read, that truck was built specifically for this movie. Okay. And then after the movie was after they had shot their scenes with it, that's when they took it back, fitted it up, and painted it as one of the Bigfoot trucks, and then took it out on the monster truck.
Oh yeah.
So I think for 7 or 8 years, it was actually out on the tour as Bigfoot.
Nice. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I also want to mention again, I'm just a nitpicky dick, but that shot he had with the guns, and I'm like, God damn, that's amazing that your shotgun has no recoil to it. That's crazy. I love that. Well, gonna get me one of them. Yeah, that little Ithaca right there has no fucking recoil. None of their.
I'm gonna give a shout out to old Fat Boy's suspenders in the background. Those things are working harder than anybody else in this film. Jesus Christ. It took a lot of work to keep that belly up. That's all I'm saying. So.
I almost put it as my little tagline in there. Polar bear.
He's not bigger. Polar bear.
If there's anything unbelievable in this movie, it's that fat boy could crawl into that truck, because there ain't no way he's doing it. I'm telling you right now, he'd give up on the third try. But you know what you got to do.
But, you know, we always have to have that one clown character that's in there just for laughs. I mean, it's like he always stands there and he when all his friends are talking shit, but as soon as, you know, they all start spitting down, he's like, what do I do? I don't know how to actually fight. I'm just here to back everybody else up. But, Patrick Swayze hurt himself a lot on this. Patrick Swayze actually hurt his knee during filming. That's why he chose to make Ghost in 1990 his next film, because it was less physically strenuous. He actually turned down the role of Gabriel Cash in Tango and Cash in 1989, and turned down the role of Mike Harrigan in Predator 2, which would come out in 1990.
I mean, that's fair.
Oh, man. I would have loved to
play a dead guy for 90% of this movie. Screw it, I ain't doing that again.
Still, but Patrick Swayze in a Predator movie, yes, please. I mean, I love Predator 2. Don't get me wrong; it's a great movie. But Patrick Swayze in a Predator film, hell.
But even having him star opposite Sylvester Stallone in Tango and Cash would have been pretty cool too.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Kurt Russell is probably the best choice, but it's like I would have liked to have seen him in something like that, playing something a little more, because it's like down home Southern charm while spitting out some one-liners here and there and ribbing Sylvester Stallone probably would have worked pretty well too. I don't know. The movie will never get, but I mean, as much as I like Tango and Cash as being a fun 89, I always thought it was a 90s movie, but I mean, just being a fun, goofy, brainless action flick. That could have worked well. But, more on Patrick Swayze's injuries. Marshall Teague initially did not get along with Patrick Swayze. While filming their big fight scene at the end, both men quickly realized they shared a dedication to realistic stunts. They developed so much mutual trust that they improvised a lot and allowed each other to throw real punches and kicks. When Jimmy swings a log at Dalton in the final fight scene, Teague mistakenly thought that it was a breakaway prop log, but it wasn't. It was actually a real log. By the end, Swayze was covered in bruises, 2 broken ribs, and a busted knee. Woo!
Jeez. Well, I knew
for the art,
for the art, man.
for the car, for the craft. Yeah.
I do believe that all of the actors did their own stunts, not just Swayze and whatever. So, I mean, but that really kind of pays off for what, like, there's not a massive amount of cuts and edits during those scenes where, they have to cut down and not show the face for the middle of the fight to happen. Like, that I think makes it elevate even more because it's real and it's actually happening. Just like, once again, the fist fight and They Live. Like, Roddy Piper and them really did that kind of crap. They
a professional wrestler in your movie. You're gonna fucking use him for
right.
Come on.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, let him do it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But obviously Patrick Swayze was hitting his stride as a famous person when this movie was being filmed. Let's see. Patrick Swayze's fame caused a lot of problems during filming. One, a group of middle-aged blonde women attempted to drive right up to his trailer. Also, a raft full of crazy Swayze fans sailed by while they were filming the big fight scene by the river. And one female actress that was playing a waitress was so busy staring at Swayze that she didn't watch where she was going, tripped, and spilled her drinks all over another extra, ruining a take.
Amazing.
Oh,
Did you blame him though?
The power of Swayze, man. He had his time. You know what I mean?
I think they ended up having to have like special security for him, as I recall reading recently.
Swayze had his own bouncers.
because after Dirty Dancing, his fame shot up so high, so fast. True. That he had hit like Elvis stature. He couldn't just like go anywhere without being mobbed. So he had to have like special security for a while filming this.
Jesus.
Which I mean, that's how we get.
That's fair.
Let's see. The band that was playing at the start of the movie was called Cruzados. After the band disbanded, the lead singer named Tito La Riva formed another band called Tito and Tarantula. Tito and Tarantula is the band that was playing the Titty Twister from Dusk Till Dawn in 1996.
Another good one. I love From Dusk Till Dawn. I've seen that entire series and all 3 or 4 seasons of the television show that they did on El Rey Network. I love me from Dusk Till Dawn. I love that franchise.
The first movie was good. After that, there was a serious decline in quality. I mean, I think the second one was fun. Yeah, it wasn't nearly as good as the first. And then, like after they got to the third one, the TV show I thought was meh. There was a couple episodes that were okay, but I never really.
Which one was Texas? Which one had Robert Patrick? That was Texas Blood Money, right? That was the third one where the bank robber. It was one of those. That one. The quality dropped down because obviously you didn't have George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino starring. But I love that franchise. It's a fun watch. I like that. Maybe my favorite style of vampire, and even though it's very non-traditional, I just really dig that style of it.
Let's see. Patrick Swayze had actually gone on record as saying it was a toss-up to see who used more hairspray in the movie. Him or Kelly Lynch? Which I don't know. He said that Swayze would joke in the years after the movie was made. He said that hair turned into the bane of my existence.
But I mean, you wear it well. Like I said, there's mullets that I'm like there's like a classy mullet. Like that's it. That's That's a classy mullet, right?
Yeah, that's like a middle of the road kind of, like
Really just kind of a longer.
I'm here.
Haircut, really.
I'm here to party, but I'm not showing up, in a rusted out El Camino, blaring my music kind.
Like you say, it's not the
You know what I mean?
mullet. Yeah.
Right. He could be like, if you give him enough whiskey, he can become Joe Dirt, but he has some, he's some manners about him. So.
That's the thing, is that would have been perfect for the 80s because the back of my hair grows obnoxiously faster than everything else. So like, if I just let this go, this shit's gonna beat the front by a fucking mile. So, or I should say a country mile. I don't know. Yeah.
Back to Kelly Lynch. She was actually contracted with United Artists Pictures to do a Sam Kinison film, but the comedian was deemed too wild by the studio, and they eventually canceled his movie. That left her available for this film.
I love Sam Kinison.
What a great comedian.
That fat little coke head screaming at everybody. He was always fun to watch. That if you haven't seen Sam Kinison's stand-up specials that he did, I think they're on YouTube or somewhere. Just Google it.
There's a lot of clips of him on YouTube, but God, they're so good.
Yeah. He was. Whenever Sam Kinison, didn't he play the devil on Married with Children, or was that somebody else? I can't remember who he played. He
was Al's fucking guardian angel or some shit like that. I forget.
Guardian angel or something. Yeah. He played some kind of spiritual deal. But whenever he did Married with Children, that was just great. I love me some Sam Kinison.
I guess back in the 70s, I have no way of proving this, but I've had some old timers tell me this. He actually preached in a church. He used to be a preacher here in Ohio.
Yeah.
Really?
Up north somewhere.
I would love to have gone to that church.
And I guess for a while he was like a traveling preacher, and he apparently preached at a church in this town that I live in back in the, I want to say late 70s, maybe early 80s. Huh. That's what I've heard. Really? I've never been able to find any proof of this. I mean, there's not much digging on the internet you can do for where some small town preacher preached back in 1970, whatever. But I mean, I've heard several people say that, and I was like, that's pretty freaking wild. Yeah. Yeah, if you go online, you can actually find some pictures of him sitting at like a piano, and he's got like a pair of blue jeans and like a button-up shirt on. He looks really clean cut, and that was a picture of him. I guess he used to run like a youth group for a church up in northern Ohio somewhere, and then whatever happened to him happened. He decided to go into comedy, and then he became the Sam Kinison that we all know, and whatever. But yeah, Sam Kinison is fantastic. Let's see. You guys want to hear something about some rough sex?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Kelly Lynch actually wore padding for the love scene between Dalton and Doc for protection because Patrick Swayze was slamming Kelly Lynch against the wall.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's the scene like where they first embrace, and it's like, I know he like pushes her up against the wall, and it's like this whole typical gratuitous 80s sex scene. But I'm assuming it was for that. But I read that and I was like, I can't not put that on here because it's funnier than hell.
That's just the message of the day, kids. Use protection. That's all we're trying to say here.
See,
put some padding on that wall.
You come here people come to this YouTube channel to be entertained, and we even give them a health advice that they need to hear. Use protection. Right. It's just good for you. You learn something. We need to add that NBC thing, the more you know, across the screen.
Right.
Yeah, Kelly Lynch actually got in trouble from the director several times because she laughed when Jimmy's death scene was shot.
Really?
I guess she ruined one or two takes from what I was reading because she was laughing in the background.
Well, to be fair, it is
out of context. You just shoot that, and then she wasn't riding the high of that fight like we were. And we're like, yeah, fuck you, and then it was just goofy.
Like, obviously, when you're watching the film, it's serious. But if you were to take the sound out of that scene and replace it with a more comical tone, it would look hilarious. I mean, let's not lie to ourselves here, because it is over the top. Go look at pro wrestling in the 80s at this time. This is exactly what this was. This is over-the-top choreographed stuff that gets you excited.
Yeah, I
Let
get it.
me tell you something. You know what I mean?
Right.
The big handlebar mustache.
You know, take out
Brother.
take out Jimmy Dalton, put in Hulk Hogan and Macho Man. They'd be doing the same
Oh my God, yes.
Probably.
thing.
We got AI now. Somebody get on that. Like, it's got to be
Right.
somewhere.
I want to see Roadhouse starring Hulk Hogan. That would be a horrible movie, but I would love it. That'd be great.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I actually watched No Holds Barred the other night because I was bored.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
Oh, it's. I remember thinking that movie was kind of fun when it came out when I was all of 13 years old or some shit like that. I was watching it now and I was like, good God, this movie's awful. I was like, it was fun for what it was. And again, I would never have watched a movie like that today thinking that it was going to be the next great Oscar winner.
Oh, what was that?
But Hulk
what was
Hogan
the TV show that he did?
Thunder.
Thunder.
Thunder in Paradise.
No, Thunder in Paradise. I was a big WCW fan back in the day, and I used to watch the crap out of Thunder in Paradise and thought it was just the greatest show ever made. I watched it again a few years ago, and same effect. Like, this is just horrible. This is
I was watching. Admittedly, I was watching it while I was getting one of the streams together because I was like, I just wanted something on the background noise. I was like, well, I haven't seen that in probably 100 years, so I was going to click play on that. It was on Tubi, I think.
Right.
And I was sitting there watching it, and I'm like, God, Hulk Hogan's line deliveries were just so bad. It was so campy and stupid. Yeah. And I'm like, I understand that they probably weren't making this movie to be a big blockbuster. It wasn't going to be like the next great anything. But I was like, good God, you got to try. I just didn't understand it. And I know that it was probably mostly made to introduce Zeus, Tiny Lister, to the world because he was after this movie came out is when he made his big debut in WWF. But Hogan was already a big
maybe I'm not
star.
sure.
And I was just like, God, it's just not good. The acting was terrible. It was just so cheesy. And I was like, I understand why my 13-year-old self loved it because I didn't know shit. But I was like, now I'm watching it. And I'm
right?
Like,
yeah, we didn't know any better. Yeah.
Now I really look at it as one of those movies that's so bad and it's good. It's like a train wreck. You can't drive by and not look at it. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's kind of how I view that movie now, along with a lot of movies from my youth that I really liked, like Howard the Duck. I used to like that movie when I was a kid. Now I watch it and I'm like, good God, this movie's awful. it's so bad. But it's like
you're not wrong.
It's like watching somebody. It's like watching somebody swing from the gallows. It's like you want to turn away, but you just can't do it. There's something
that's why it was it was a town event. You all gathered up and you watched somebody get their head chopped off, or you swing from your neck a little bit. Yeah.
No doubt. But in closing, I'm out of trivia now. But in closing, let me ask you guys this real quick. When you
I swear to Christ, you give me an over-under. How many bottles were broken in this movie? Shut up. God damn it! Don't even start with me.
I left the body count off because I was like, I'll give Jeremy a break.
Well, I mean, you could have done something else, like you've done like F-bombs before or something. I don't know. How many tires did he end up being popped on his car? I don't know, probably 8.
But when you guys first heard they were making a remake of this, I'll go to you first, Jeremy. What were your thoughts? Were you like, I want to see what they'll do with it? I mean, even before they announced the Ronda Rousey, or before they announced what we would eventually get with Jake Gyllenhaal, because the news actually they've been talking about a remake of this for quite some time. I think even before Patrick Swayze had died, they were talking about doing some kind of a remake or something. I mean, what were your initial thoughts when you first heard Roadhouse remake? I mean, were you kind of rolling your eyes, or were you like, well, we'll see what they give us?
Well, more so, again, it's weird to like gatekeep it in a way where I'm like, it's not Patrick Swayze, so like I don't want it. I don't. It's there's some big shoes to fill here where you gotta capture like I said, the charm and the heart of this movie and the chemistry that all these characters just seamlessly seem to have. You know what I mean? And my curiosity is only like, well, what would it look like? What would you do? Would you still make it set in the 80s? Is this like a remake? Is this some sort of continuation? Because again, we've slugged through that time. I think we're still doing it, where we're just remaking like everything, and we're kind of just burnt out on it. Like, oh my God, stop! Please stop doing this before you ruin it. And I know we can keep saying like, well, we always had the original. I'm like, yeah, we do, and we can just indie for it. We can just be like, yeah, that didn't that didn't happen. But when you keep doing it, is what I'm saying is like there's a lot of things we have to ignore now, and say that it didn't happen. I know we're gonna review the new one, and I'm curious because I also have been hearing the same thing like Frank said. It's like some people have been saying like, no, it's actually it's all right. It's
Hey,
good.
I liked it, but you just have to think of it as
not
Roadhouse
it's
in a different universe, set in modern times, almost like they're like distant cousins, and you can't compare them.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm kind of I thought it was going to be just from the still I saw of him, and you see like the Roadhouse sign or the neon sign behind him. I was like, is this still in the 80s? That's a very 80s looking shot with like the one pointless button way down here on his shirt and his abs like poking through his fucking. I was like, okay, so is this still that goofy 80s thing, or is this modern? I don't know. I think Brooding Gamer even told me a week or so ago. He said he saw it in a place like where it's on, but like you can't hear the TV. They just play something, and he said it was playing on there. He said I couldn't hear what the hell they were saying. I think there were captions. He's like, but I was watching. He's like, you know what? It wasn't bad. It was goofy, and it was still. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be the same, but we'll see. We all have a hard on for Patrick. I'm sorry. It's just hard to ignore. Sam Elliott won't show us his dick, so I'm sorry. I don't know what you want me to do.
Cora, what do you think?
Punch you in yours if you ask.
Cora, what do you think? When you first heard Remake from Roadhouse, I mean, what were your initial thoughts?
Well, initially I thought Jake Gyllenhaal is a poor man's Jason Statham. Why the fuck did they pick him? He's not sexy at all.
That's kind of why I was thinking too, like him. Really?
But if you take away the face and because he does bulk up, and you just think of him as the character, not a sex symbol, as Jake Gyllenhaal, he actually sells it in the movie. And I watched it, like I told you guys, when I couldn't sleep one night. It was on Amazon Prime and suggested to me. But I didn't watch it for a very long time, knowing it was there, because I was like, I'm not watching that shit, you know. Right. And I was initially like, no, I'm not going to watch it. I had to be kind of lulled into it from insomnia. So I fear there are a lot of people who would have maybe never wanted to see it and are maybe missing out. So hopefully our review in the future will change some people's minds.
Tex, I'll go to you now, Tex. I mean, when you first heard Roadhouse Remake, I mean, were you kind of flabbergasted like some other people were?
I wanted to roundhouse kick whoever had that idea because it's horrible. It doesn't need to happen.
Money.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Well, and to rebuttal
off the 80s to this goddamn day, so we're going to keep doing it.
To kind of rebuttal what Cora said, if you do this, if you do that, how many ifs do you have? How many hoops do you have to jump through to make something good? At a certain point, when you make something, if it's bad enough, it can actually tarnish the thing that came before it. I've seen the new Roadhouse. I hate it. It is not. Does it have? Yeah, it has some cool fight scenes. Has this, whatever. Fine, whatever. There's a million movies that have that. But Roadhouse is one of those things that belongs to the 80s.
Is was it with the worst remake you've seen? Because I don't think it was.
Oh no, it was not the worst.
Okay.
I've seen the remake of Footloose. I will watch that.
I will watch that. I will not.
I've seen the remake of Footloose.
That's why I refuse to watch that too. I'm like, I don't want to watch
Blake Shelton is not Kenny Loggins. Just saying.
No, he's not. No, he's not. But Roadhouse is Patrick Swayze, is Sam Elliott, it's the 80s. You can take, I mean, I'm going to quote a buddy of mine here, but if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. You know, that's kind of how I feel about it. How many hoops do I need to jump through?
Can we please get that as merch? Oh my God, please.
Oh my God.
Well, hey, it's not my friend. Yeah, and listen, I'm borrowing it from a friend, so you know, whatever, it is what it is. But it's a Roadhouse is Swayze and Elliott. Like I said, it belongs to them. Roadhouse is like Jaws. It needs to be left alone because you're only going to do it worse. You have no hope.
Yeah, we saw the sequels. It got bad.
of doing. Yeah, we've seen Jaws: The Revenge. It doesn't go.
But after that,
so once Jaws is tracking an airplane to a different country to kill one certain person, you've gone too far. Okay, you need to
that's
stop.
why we have nuke in the fridge and we have jump in the shark. Like it's just don't do that, please.
Right. It's no. I hated hearing that a new Roadhouse was going to be made. Like initially with the Ronda Rousey thing, I wanted to kick puppies because no, I don't care. No, that's not going to work. And I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal's a great actor. I love him in Nightcrawler. He's amazing in that movie. But he's not Dalton. He will never be Dalton. And of course, I'll go on more about this Tuesday. But hell no, the answer is no.
I will say, like Cora said, I'm impressed by how much he, bulked up for this movie. Because I saw that poster, I was like, God damn,
that's
dude.
not CG abs.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I saw him.
No.
They were like, dude, how long did you train? He's like, yeah, it was intense. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, no, credit to him. I mean, he got shredded. I mean, he did the work. But that doesn't mean you get to be Dalton. You're not Patrick Swayze. I'm sorry. You're not that level of cool. So, sorry.
Yeah,
can you at least give him a mullet? Like, Jesus. Come on.
Well, the Ronda Rousey stuff, I was like, I don't know about all that. I mean, for one, look, as a fighter, I kind of like. I'm not a big MMA fan. I'm not a big fan of the UFC and all that. But
she's all right.
I mean, I watched some stuff, and I kind of watched her, but I was like, she's not a very good actress right now. And some people have to grow into it. It's like, look, I'll be honest. Dwayne Johnson was not very good his first couple times out. He's become a better actor.
He was amazing.
More importantly,
he was fantastic as a tooth fairy.
More importantly, he has picked roles.
He looks so pretty in his wings.
I think John Cena has gotten a little bit better. He's still not great, but he's gotten a little bit better. A lot of these wrestlers, their first couple
John Cena is good as Peacemaker. Like he is funny on that TV show.
Is the only
that
man
works.
in WWE who wears actual pants
because he's goofy
in the ring.
and. Well, I kept saying, I know we don't want to touch some of these, like, don't make remakes, but I'm like, hear me out. If you were to remake They Live, you can't tell me John Cena would do it for the Roddy Piper. Come on. He's goofy. He's a wrestler. It would fucking work. Take your head out of Roddy Piper's ass for one fucking second. It would
no John Carpenter. No Roddy Piper. No movie, buddy.
He's dead. What are you gonna do?
Do you know
John Carpenter's not dead?
Piper is. You said Roddy Piper. I said he's
what are you talking about? Oh, so you're saying
happening, Frank?
I don't know.
I was about to say, did John Carpenter die and I didn't hear about it? Because I'm going to be upset.
Would have been the first one. No.
Jesus Christ.
But that's the thing. It's like Roddy Piper, while he was a wrestler, he had a different kind of. He had a camera presence. He knew how to. He knew how to work in front of the camera. And
it was personality.
It wasn't the wrestling stuff. He was actually a pretty good actor from the jump. Whereas a lot of WWE guys, the modern day WWE guys, they don't make that transition all that easily.
Nah.
Well, as far as acting ability goes, with Ronda Rousey, go watch her. Watch her character that she played in WWE. She was so bad. The only thing that could have her be was the bad guy. I'm tougher than you. I'm going to kick you in the head. No personality. Nothing worked.
I saw her wrestle.
They tried to make her. Yes, they tried to make her a good guy, and people just booed her because she was just bad. The only thing she could be is Ronda Rousey. So.
She, after her pregnancy, she went on on YouTube and did interviews and shit on the fans on a level that you cannot do. Like, fuck the fans. WWE fans are stupid. It's like, girl, do you realize who's putting?
She's still doing that. She's still doing that to this day.
Oh,
I mean, after
like
she came back after she had the kid for like a 6-month run or something, and it was just awful because she's a one-trick pony. I'm a girl. I'm the world's most famous girl UFC fighter. That's all Ronda Rousey is.
It's a squirrel moment, but the only woman I think that's not a professional wrestler to begin with that could come into WWE and be a kick-ass wrestler and bring the fans from her following and actually step up and be really awesome is Simone Biles, the gymnast. Like, she'd be fucking awesome at it.
Yeah, but she's like 2 feet tall. You have to have a little bit
That's
of
funny, though. That's funny, isn't it? I don't know.
Only if she was going to do midget wrestling, but I mean, it's like, no, she's like 3 feet
God,
tall.
you guys.
Now, I'm not going to lie, like the aerial stuff would be really exciting to watch her do, but it's like
from the top rope. Oh, there she goes.
You really expect her to step in against like Bianca? It's like Bianca's. Like,
I don't know.
It's like,
it has to be better than Ronda.
hey, some of these girls are like 6'2", pretty cut. It's not that Simone Biles isn't in shape, but it's like she's 3 foot tall. You can't look intimidating at 3 foot tall.
I don't watch much wrestling these days, but when I do, I don't watch it to see girls wrestle like guys. I want to see the smoking hottest women just basically just slap, fight, and tickle each other for my entertainment. That's all I need the girls to do.
Actually, you do
Why don't
understand.
You just go watch porn?
That oh wait, that's right. He can't because they banned it.
Yeah, he's in Texas. He can't watch porn.
No, see, that's not true. You know, Pornhub might have been, you know, taken away from us. But there's many, like 3/4 of the internet is naked stuff. So it's not that big a deal.
I don't know that that's true. There are a lot of government websites.
Don't you have like a preferred customer card at like 3 of the nudie stores around town?
Oh yeah. Believe me, I get my fill.
Wait, porn shops give customer preferred cards out like a grocery store.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah, it's like a Kroger card. You just walk in there.
Fucking Sam's Club card for
every store. Every store has to have its own.
He goes beep, and then he gets 10% off.
Hey,
so much no.
I go through my wallet. I've got my Walmart card. I've got my Sam's Club membership, and then the naked store. You know, you gotta have. You gotta touch all
there. I want to see these cards. I don't believe you have that in your wallet.
I want to start a head shop called the Naked Store. I think that's a great name for a store.
That'd be cool. Oh yeah.
You call it the Naked. I'm going to start
a store. Hold on.
Just get people to come in.
I have to know one thing, Tex. Does that store have windows?
No. I got it.
Well,
there's a whole new trend in businesses.
This is important.
To try to get people to go to their businesses by literally changing their business title to something near me because they put it in Google search. What you need to make your business name is Naked Near Me.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
All those ads are a lie, though. There's not hot women in my area waiting to talk to me. Quit lying.
Yeah.
No. But actually, make it a sandwich shop. Naked.
All these doctors hate this guy apparently for some reason.
I don't know.
Right.
That's a good way to start closing the show out. Let me get you guys' final thoughts on the film. Now, I'll start with you, Lady Cora. What are your final thoughts on Roadhouse 1989?
Fantastic. I own this on physical media. Fantastic movie. Top 25 of the decade.
Yeah.
Go watch it.
Jay, how about you? Final thoughts on Roadhouse?
Now that I've ate my part of the lasagna. Sorry, I did.
All right, Garfield.
Hey.
He's got to eat. Come on.
Yeah. Come on. That's just promotion for the 387th movie that we didn't need to fucking put Chris Pratt into. So there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I would have rather you brought back Bill Murray. Just please stop. Anyway, Roadhouse is fantastic. I think right now it's behind. I think everything's on paywalls, but again, it's totally worth it. I mean, pay a few bucks, rent it, or like Cora said, it has it on physical media. This is definitely one of those ones that's worth having on physical media. It's a fun action romp that I don't know how some people thought it needed, browsies, but some people can be wrong. It's okay.
Yeah, they're idiots.
Yeah, you know what you're talking about.
Tex, how about you? Give me your final thoughts on Roadhouse.
Damn near a perfect movie. Like I said, a top 5 80s film overall. And if you don't own this one, go buy it immediately. So some sensitive, social conservative type tries to censor it and cancel it. So go buy this movie. It is tremendous. So must have.
Yeah, like I said, it really is one of the quintessential movies of the 80s. I mean, it had action, it had fights, it had sex appeal, it had a little bit of romance, it had the happy ending that only celluloid can deliver. I mean, it really is kind of one of the more complete films, and it happened at a time where Patrick Swayze was at the zenith of his fame, where he was the next Elvis. I can't think of too many people that it reached that kind of stature that Elvis reached, where he couldn't even leave his house without being mobbed. But it's like, I mean, Patrick Swayze, for a little while anyway, after Dirty Dancing, was kind of on his way to that. He was so hot, so popular. Yeah, he was the it guy. He was the A-lister in Hollywood. Yeah. And this was just a culmination of a lot of great things coming together at once. It was a good script. It was great acting. I mean, like I said, the chemistry between Sam Elliott and Patrick Swayze was phenomenal. The actors were perfect. Everything was just right for this movie to end up becoming not a cult movie, but really just one of the enduring films of all time. I mean, why? I've asked this question before. Why does The Wizard of Oz, stand the test of time? Why does Dr. Zhivago carry the weight that it does in film these days?
Citizen Kane.
It was Citizen Kane. Why do these movies last through multiple generations, through 100 years of Hollywood history, and still can be considered some of the best ever made? It's because there is just this perfect storm of everything going right, and I think this is one of those movies. Now, is it as good as some of those other movies we named? I mean, maybe not, but I mean, the regular person and the critic are two very different people, and most regular people are going to carry this movie out for years. I mean, I've watched this movie with my kids a couple of times, and they're just like, "Hey, Patrick Swayze kicked ass. This guy was kind of cool. What else did he do?" And I was like, "Oh, let me show you a little movie called Red Dawn. Let me show you a little movie called The Outsiders."
The Outsiders.
And it's the gateway drug into a bunch of other really great movies that Patrick Swayze was in for a great era of filmmaking. So go check it out. It was on Amazon Prime. I think they took it down yesterday or something like that. But just in time for me to go looking for it. But you can go find the new Roadhouse on Amazon Prime. That's the one we're going to be doing on Tuesday. So come back and check us out for that. Let's see. Thanks to my amazing co-host for being here as always. The Doubter Countess Lady Cora. Where can the folks at home find you, man?
Nowhere but lurking to the internet, unless I'm on your show or defending myself on Alex and the Garbage Man's show. Which, by the way, I went over there in the chat and listened, and he at first tried to lie about it and make me out to be some sex fiend, but then he said, actually, I can't throw her under the bus, and he told the truth. So, thank you, Nick.
I'll throw you under the bus. I'll be over there in a minute. Don't worry. I'll tell the truth.
No one cares. I told them that you're full of hot air and you're not worth listening to.
It's full of sour cream today. That's what it
is. Thank you, Jeremy.
I got you.
And to my hetero life mate, Jeremy, where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
Back here, because again, I've shoved the desk into the corner and I'm throwing the damn remote around. So Tuesdays, Thursdays, same bat time, same bat channel.
Have you broken anything in your new house yet?
Though it wasn't already broken. No, there is a stupid, there's a latch on the sliding door, but there's also a little thing that a button you press with your toe to unlock it. And I'm like, one of us is going to be drunk one day. Not remember that, and it was me. I was the first one to I forgot the thing, and I smacked right into the damn door trying to open it.
Oh no!
I don't think I've.
That's good.
Oh no! You know what? I don't think we broke it, but I hate those real long blinds, the long plastic things that come right off. They're
I hate vertical blinds. I've never liked them. They never last very long.
That's what's on the back porch where the sliding door is. It's already whatever. It's there's supposed to be a screw, there's supposed to be a nut or something holding it up there, and it's not there, and it's already. It wasn't like that, when we got here. So, it's not long for the world.
One drunken party will kill vertical blinds. So if you can't,
that's what I'm saying. We want to have a housewarming party, hopefully around Memorial Day or something later.
Do you know what you should do? You and Rachel should sign each vertical blind and give them out as parting gifts to everybody that comes to your house.
Oh my God, that would be awesome! Actually.
And then you get rid of them. Go, thanks for coming to the party. Here's a vertical blind with our signatures on it. A piece of our house for you.
Or just go ahead and get it out of the way and just jump through them now because it's going to happen eventually. Just rip that Band-Aid off.
Yeah, we'll have to. I hopefully I don't break anything else, but I can start. I wish I hadn't turned around. There's so much crap on this floor that you can't see and you're not going to see. But some of it's I actually think 90% that's hers, but not naming any names. Somewhere
there's only one her in your house. It isn't a dog.
It isn't a dog. It could have been. You don't know.
Anyway,
I'll pull out some more. I got some more recording stuff to actually utilize this desk space with. So since we got to see pictures of Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal for season 2 of Last of Us, and I'm so excited. Maybe I'll actually play the game, and you'll see how good I actually am at games. Don't watch our Fortnite streams. That's not an accurate sample size of how I play games.
Yours can't be worse than Casey's. So
Well, I know that's not a hard bar to beat. I'm just saying.
I love it. I love it shitting on
Hey,
There you go.
right there.
There you go.
Highlight
There's
that.
your
Where's
shout
my
out.
shot? Yeah, exactly.
There's your shout out.
There's your damn shout out.
There.
You're welcome. See, I got you, buddy. I'm here to build you up.
Casey doesn't get shout outs. He gets shot at whenever he tries to come around. I
That's
don't want
what
to,
happened right there.
but it is.
I need you to revive me. Yeah. Go get
And
my
the
card.
And the shape of the Lone Star State, my man Tex. What do you got going on, sir?
Not a lot. I don't even have a recommend for tonight because I don't have time to watch anything besides what we're doing for
You
this
should
show.
recommend Magic Mike.
I would rather cut my tongue out of my mouth live on camera, but before doing that. So I'll just say,
Wait, he's gonna do
go have a game of horror roulette. Go to Tubi and just slide it, and then like with your eyes closed, and whatever you point at is what you watch tonight.
That's not a bad idea. I mean, I've done that. I've just gone to the video store and just looked at random crap on the ground, and I'm like, that was like a fun movie.
There's one I've got in my saved list on Tubi called Clown. It's a horror movie that I was just kind of reading the description. I was like, that seems like fun. I just haven't gotten around to actually watching it yet. But yeah, we'll get to it. And don't forget, we'll be back here on Tuesday to break down Roadhouse from 2024, the recent remake of this that came out with Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor, who is way over the top and cartoonish compared to the more down to earth evil bad guy from this movie. But I've heard it's a fun watch. That if you just take it with a grain of salt, just watch it as a movie and have fun with it, and it's a good time. So hopefully this movie will not be too big of a disappointment. I've heard some decent things lately about it. So I figured it's only fair, since we're breaking down the original Roadhouse from 1989, that we should break down the newer one with Jake Gyllenhaal right afterwards to give you our comparison, our thoughts on what the movie is. So you will see us back in here on Tuesday doing that. And then we're going to be going deep into the horror. I think the rest of the month is going to be some of Texas' favorite stuff. Going full Rob Zombie on a couple things. And then we're going to go back to the 80s for one of the great B-rate, low-budget horror films that was ever made. But we will see you guys next time. Until then, thanks for coming up. We appreciate it. Adios.
Bye, Casey. You're going to lose your ranch and Tex is going to get it.
Yep, that's mine, Casey. Sorry. You've abused your privileges, sir.
Yes, he has. Bad Casey. Bad touch, Casey.
Yeah. I love how he
ground
comes
wins
here
for you.
for his equal opportunity cake, like that you give the kids at the birthday party.
He gets a medal. He gets a medal for being here.
He just waits in the wings, like he lets us do our show, and then like, oh, now's my time to strike, so I can get my name mentioned.
It's
like he purposely does that.
That's what it is.
Right.
You know what we need to do? I need to get a hold of a J-Man to go over there and kick him and then be like, Roadhouse.